With leading teams and being 22 years old, for me, sometimes it can be difficult being a young person leading, but I feel like as of recently, God's been teaching me to step out into my calling and be bold and courageous in who I am.
There is an important part of having your kids in a position to hear truth. Kid Focus teaches our kids. Shameless plug, Kid Focus needs volunteers. It is an honor to be able to teach the next generation. So serve the kids. We're not just, hey, if you would like to, we're telling you we need you to. So find yourself serving in our kids ministry, in our youth ministry, and cheering on the kids of Every Nation campus. So here we have, what is your name?
Hello, everyone. My name is Josiah Gerard.
For those of y'all who don't know, this is our second-born child. He is precious to us, and we are excited to hear your story this morning, Josiah. So share your 2-minute miracle with us.
Yes, so I grew up in a Christian household. Whenever I introduce myself in guest lunch, I always say I've been here since 2001 because I do not remember a time where I was not here at church. So I was here all the time. I knew all of the Bible stories that I heard back in Kid Focus. And I enjoyed it a lot when I was a kid. We used to have competitions to get candy bars. That was a lot of fun. So I did enjoy it, but
maybe that's the secret. Hey, next week we're going to see if y'all win a candy bar.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But my relationship with the Lord was never personal. It was something that I saw my parents live out and others around me live out, but it wasn't something that I had myself. And then one day I heard the verse John 3:16. It's a pretty common verse, but that day it just hit different for me. And it says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life." And that day was the day I truly understood the Father's love for me. That the God that my parents loved also loved me as much as them. And that was the day I truly repented and turned away from my sin, not just feeling sorry for it, but I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to change something in my actions. And that was also the day where the gospel just became very real to me, that because of Adam and Eve and the fall, sin entered the world. And because of my sin, I deserved death. But I thank God for the gift of his son, Jesus, who came down, lived the perfect life that I could not live, and died on the cross for my sins to bridge that gap between me and the Lord. So since then, since I was 10, it's been a journey. I've fallen off the path sometimes. High school was pretty difficult for me, but I thank God for just being there, just gently waiting for me to come back to him in times where I was not pursuing him how I should have been. And I do not know where I would be without my relationship with the Lord, and I'm thankful for everything he is doing in my life and continuing to do. So,
great. Yeah, good job. Josiah is one of our more feeling as far as his emotions and with our kids. And one of the things I always appreciate about Josiah is just his love for people. And I think if you get to know him, you'll sense that and feel that as well. And I joked that Josiah, when he first came to be baptized, baptized him in one of our baptism services, and then he came back, I think maybe the next year, and said he didn't really understand what he was doing the previous year, and he wanted to get baptized again, and I told him no. And yeah, I know, I'm awful. And I asked him to forgive me. I'm doing it again. Like, I'm going to ask him to forgive me when I'm on my deathbed probably, but he really, his heart towards God, just, you could sense that and see that. And I appreciate that about his testimony and about where God's bringing you, who you are today. So being a part of the church and growing up around the church and having to be here all the time, how did you get connected with ENC?
Yeah, so I would say through In Focus Youth, as I was starting to enter into my college years, I knew that there was a campus ministry and a college ministry that we had here, and Pastor Keevan does a good job of making sure our seniors are connected here if they still are here, and the ones that move away, he does want them to be invested in some sort of ministry. So I knew that that was an option for me, and for the first couple of years, I wasn't able to attend because I had some prior responsibilities, but I did see them doing stuff on campus. I was able to attend some of the events that they had during the weekend, which I enjoyed a lot. And then My fiance now, she was going a lot and she was very invested into it, and I wanted to be around her more. That was one of the reasons I went. That was a good reason, but I also had a lot of friends a part of ENC as well, like my boys Thomas and Mark. So they were also encouraged me to come, and ever since last year, I've been going very consistently, and it has been amazing.
So great. Whatever it took to be around Lena. I'm glad it led you to, deeper waters with the Lord. And we love Lena. What has God taught you through your involvement in ENC and the church?
Yeah, so I would say specifically through ENC, I started attending, and I lead in a lot of areas here at the church. Shout out the experience team if you're a part of the experience team. No one in here is, I guess. Come on, experience team, something. Yes, thank you. So if you want to serve there, just let me know. I got you. And I also serve with our students as well on Wednesday nights, and I play the drums as well. Yes, Pastor Kevin, yes. So I wanted to be able to attend somewhere where I could be poured into, because I was pouring out of a lot. I wanted to be able to be filled up spiritually, and ENC has been that for me. It's a place where I don't really have to worry about logistics or responsibilities that I may have here. It's just a place I can go to and be filled up. So that's how ENC and the church, it's been integral to my spiritual growth, but as of recently, it's been super, I've been encouraged to just be more bold and courageous in who God has called me to be. Because with leading teams and being 22 years old, for me, sometimes it can be difficult being a young person leading, but I feel like as of recently, God's been teaching me to step out into my calling and be bold and courageous in who I am. So
I think that's great. It's a great point, too. We're not just a multi-ethnic church or a multi-generational church, and being that, it's important to give young people an opportunity to lead. And I would say, I'll say this with 100% accuracy, without our younger people leading and serving here, we don't exist the way that we do. And so I appreciate all the way, from as young as we're allowed to let them in. And of course, my boys will say that I was having them intern here under the table when they were like 14 or something like that. But I don't know if that's exactly true. I don't think, but maybe slightly. And but we want to make sure that we allow young people to have an opportunity to lead. And they do a tremendous job with ideas that, we can't think of. So share a little bit about your mission experience with ENC, because we do we believe in going, making disciples, going to the nations, whether it's, we're going in our own community, or we're growing in our own nation, or we're going internationally. And you've had a chance to be a part of a couple of those types of trips with ENC. So share that experience.
Yeah, so whenever I have the opportunity to go on mission, I always say yes, not usually. I always say yes because I am obeying the Lord and what He's called me to do, but I also enjoy it a lot. I feel like that's one of the areas where I feel most comfortable is on missions. So we are about to go to Memphis in a month. This will be my, I think, 7th time going since 2020. So I've been a lot in the last 4 years, but through Memphis specifically, I've seen my life and other students' life changed by the gospel through the trip, through the experiences that we've had, the opportunities we've had to learn and grow in our relationship with the Lord, but also just learn things that we may not have known before. So I've seen students' lives changed by the gospel and by their learning experiences, and really just students change their whole personality, it seems. Afterwards, they're just a totally different person coming back on fire for the Lord, and wanting to just be involved in everything, which that usually happens when you come back from mission trips where you're up here and then you go into a plateau, but most of the students I've seen have just stayed here, which has been really amazing to see. And then me and Mark have also had the opportunity, which you'll meet him in a second, we've had the opportunity to go to St. Thomas, and they're doing some amazing things down there. They're about to start a church. I think they might have already done that. Yeah. And that just launched there through their campus ministry, and it is amazing to see the work that is going down there. And it really just inspires me and Mark, I'll testify for him, to come back and do even more here on the campus and to be able to share with the students here what's going on that campus, to be able to push them into missions or other things that they feel called to do. So,
I love to have you on mission trips. I have watched your heart, already a very soft and tender heart, be tenderized even more. So appreciate you sharing. And I love to watch you connect to your community here and what God has done in your life. Do you want to share, or can you share with us where you see God taking you in the next couple of years?
Yes. So I mentioned that I have a fiance, but I'm getting married in less than 2 months, so I'm going to start a new family. That is exciting. That is definitely where God is leading me to. And specifically here at the church, I feel called to where I'm at right now, specifically because this is where I feel that I'm able to use my gifts and talents to the best of their abilities, and I just want to be able to love on people. So wherever that is, I want to be, wherever my gifts and talents can be used, and whenever I have the opportunity to love on the people here and in our community.
Well, since you were a little boy, you've had a tender heart, and you've also had a tenacious spirit to, go after things the way you would like to go after things, which can be challenging as a parent, when you've got a tough-minded kid. But I do want to tell you in front of everybody, and just by the Spirit of God, I really do believe that He's going to take that tender heart and the boldness and courage that He's placed in you, and when those are joined together, it looks like Jesus, because you approach people that are overlooked and not seen with dignity and grace and love. And He's going to increase your capacity, and He's going to increase your reach in our community. So, bless you, son.